Breaking overnight, the transgender policy for Chesterfield County Schools is passed after a heated discussion that ended early this morning.
Following public comment, the school board revisited the policy and eventually decided to change some of the language before voting. Last month, the policy was updated to be more in line with the Virginia Department of Education's model policies. Some advocates say it favored keeping parents more informed, but many community members at the meeting voiced their concerns, saying the policy is not in line with the Department of Education's policies that they are required to adopt because it limits parent involvement.
Being a teacher is more than a job for me. It is my passion. However, I also know I am not the one who should make important decisions for my students. That is up to the parent.
Are you aware that there have been over 1,200 threat assessments done for self-harm this year alone in Chesterfield? I don't know if you've sat and heard children tell you that they hate their lives. I have. With your new policy, I'm afraid that this number is just going to increase.
We also heard from school staff, counselors, and students who identify as transgender who say this is harmful.
The intersection in Henrico County where a woman was killed in a crash Tuesday night is back open. It happened around 8:30 yesterday evening. Police were called to the intersection of 9 Mile Road and Laburnum Avenue. When officers arrived, they found a woman outside the car with life-threatening injuries. The victim was taken to the hospital where she later died.
Richmond police are still working to crack down on car thefts, specifically when the items stolen out of those cars are firearms.
Yeah, last year police saw over 600 reports of car thefts. Brendan King is live detailing what police are seeing this year. Brendan.
Police call these crimes of opportunity. More often than not, the criminal is just walking by a parked car, and they're quite nosy, right? So they look inside, they peer inside, and then they see maybe a book bag or a purse, and that's when they strike. So I asked our 1st Precinct Lieutenant James Hogan about what's going on.
At times it's ebbed and flowed, and people have locked their doors and they've had their windows smashed out. At other times they left their doors unlocked and people just jiggle the handles and open it and go inside. So the best, safest course of action for someone to take at this point is just don't leave your belongings unattended in your vehicles.
So let's expand on that. He says do not store or hide your weapons in your cars. Do not store your weapons in a purse or backpack that then you leave in your car. Anything of value should not be left in plain view. If possible, leave your car in a well-lit area and in front of a camera like a Ring doorbell. So these tips sound like common sense, right? But the stats prove not everyone is listening.
By this time last year, we had over 600 cars that had been broken into and had items stolen from them. And this year, we're down about 100 or so. We're just over 500, but that's still 500 citizens that have had property stolen out of their vehicles when they were parked.
Lieutenant Hogan says there are several neighborhoods across Richmond that have seen higher rates of these gun thefts from motor vehicles compared to others. So in our next half hour, we'll detail those neighborhoods. Lieutenant Hogan says they have quite active nightlives too. That's all new ahead at 6:30.
We look forward to that. Thanks, Brendan.
5 minutes after the hour, let's check on the roads out there. Wet roads, Kristen.
Wet roadways, flashing lights, plenty of problems right now. We're starting the 6 o'clock hour here in Henrico. Interstate 95 northbound north of the Richmond area. And you can see that the left side of the roadway, we're at mile marker about 85 to 86. So just before the Atlee-Elmont Sliding Hill Road exit, we'll be off to the right side of the roadway. This left side of the roadway closed right here due to a crash. So it's just after the 95 to 95 interchange. Again, leaving Richmond, traveling through Henrico, making it into the Hanover area. No major delays there. Just move over to the right side of the roadway. This is where we're picking up delays. Here's your Bryan Park interchange, 95, 195, and 64. Just after Route 301 Chamberlain, heading up towards Parham Road, picking up delays due to that crash reported there at about mile marker 82. Now we're out in Powhatan. It looks like we're making some progress here. A crash from earlier, Huguenot Trail close to King William Woods Road. This would be eastbound 711. Green changes over to a little bit of yellow through the area, so still seeing units on scene there. Broken down vehicle. This is in Henrico's West End, Gaskins at Broad Street. Rob, Reba?
All right, thanks, Kristen. The last time Virginia lawmakers received a pay raise was in 1988. Senators have gotten $18,000 a year since then, while delegates have gotten a few $100s less after giving themselves a pay cut in 1991 during a recession. A new report from a nonpartisan commission suggests they receive a pay increase. It says lawmakers reported working on a median of 60 hours a week during a session and 30 hours a week out of session. The report also states the median salary for a member of a legislature similar to Virginia is $33,000 a year. CBS 6 political analyst Dr. Bob Holsworth says he supports the pay increase, but adds lawmakers are always in a tough spot when it comes to voting to give themselves a raise.
No one who's especially going to run for election, let's say in this November in the House of Delegates, wants to be on record voting to increase their own pay because they know their opponent will use that against them.
A spokesperson for Governor Glenn Youngkin would not comment on the report.
Well, do you think lawmakers should get a raise? We posted that question on our Facebook page, and here's what some of you had to say. Take a look at Audie Dillon. She says, if you didn't pay them at all, you would get people who only cared about the issues and were genuinely invested in just making a difference. This is by far not their only source of income. Just pay their travel expenses. But Jennifer Willoughby says, I'm normally against pay increases for politicians, but a livable wage for these positions might allow a normal, average, everyday citizen to run instead of someone that's already wealthy and looking for ways to increase their personal power. And we want to hear from you, too, so we can share your voice. Just comment on this story on our Facebook page. 6:08 right now, giving children and adults with special needs a chance to have their voices heard.
Yeah, this Saturday, the JP Jumpers Foundation will hold their 13th annual Special Needs Talent Show. Caroline Colburn joins us now in the studio sharing the voices of the foundation and explains why supporting the event is so important. Caroline.
Reba, good morning. For some of these children and adults, like 27-year-old Jordan Ory, it's their only chance to perform in front of a packed audience. Jordan has been taking part in this talent show since it started about 12 years ago, and he gave us a little sneak peek at his performance.
Diamond and dots, Bibles and beer.
Yeah, Jordan has done this performance at home 1,000 times, but on Saturday, he's going to sing it up here. This now empty room at Liberation Church will be packed with smiling faces. Pam Mines, who started the JP Jumpers Foundation after her son's autism diagnosis, said we can expect more than 500 people and performances ranging from singing to dancing, even a fashion show. Jordan's mom, Yvette Ory, says that Jordan has made friends through this annual talent show, and he's also been able to serve as a mentor to other young adults who are getting ready for their first performances.